Hey, welcome everyone to Livestream Stars. I'm Ross Brand. This is the place where we showcase talented broadcasters delivering high quality content across Livestream platforms. And Livestream Stars is brought to you by Livestream Universe. Check it out, livestreamuniverse.com. And our website for the show, livestreamstars.tv. So here's the big question. And we're not going to try and answer it tonight, but it's a question I've been thinking about. Austin's been thinking about a little bit, so I'll just throw it out there. It's something to think about. Is Snapchat live streaming? Maybe it is. Maybe not. Probably not technically in the most narrow definition of live streaming. What I do know is there's enough similarities that it seems appropriate to cover on a live streaming show. And now with Snapchat 2.0 updates and ghost codes, there's a lot more interest than ever surrounding Snapchat. And like many other people, I've been spending a lot more time on Snapchat and find myself with lots more questions. And so who better to talk to than the creator of the Snapchat Mastery course and gifted Snapchat storyteller, Austin Iuliano. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Close enough. It's Iuliano, but
Iuliano.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. Yeah, I'm very excited to talk to you. So give everybody a little introduction about, what you do with Snapchat, your course, and, kind of what brought you to this day and time, this special occasion.
So I like to call myself a Snapchat storyteller. Now, if you compare my stories to like Sean Ayala, who just literally jumped into the Facebook Live, hey, Sean, I am nowhere in comparison. I have so much respect for Snapchat storytellers out there. It's become a new passion of mine. And what I wanted to do is kind of teach people all my knowledge I have about marketing and social media and all that businessy stuff. And I think you can attest to this. 95% of it is consistent across the board, no matter what social media you're on.
Right.
You have to focus on building a community. You have to master the art of storytelling. I don't care if you're on a podcast or if you're on Snapchat. You have to know the native culture and the interface. That's why I built the course, because Snapchat is confusing for people who are just getting on, and there's a huge flux of people who are trying to figure out this system, how to use it for a business perspective. And so I was like, why don't I take this information, put it together, interview some of the top Snapchatters out there, because it's so amazing. You can get contact to the biggest people in this platform very easily. And that's exactly why I did it, and that's how I put it together. So it's a bunch of interviews of the top people, and I'm just literally trying to get as many as I can, because like you and I both know, the more you hang around the best people, the more it makes you the best person. It's the interface, because people are confused by it. It's how to really storytell in this platform with a bunch of tips, tricks, and things like that. It's how to build a community in Snapchat, because, that is really challenging for a lot of people. They're like, hey, I got 12 views. What do I do? How do I find more people? How do I get people watching my stories? It's like, well, here's how you do it. So that is the course. What was the other half of that question? I'm sorry, I was rambling a little bit.
Oh, I don't know. You think I'm paying attention? I'm trying to read all these messages. I'm kidding you. So I guess let's start big picture, right? Start with people who've come over to Snapchat, or they've been on Snapchat. They heard about Snapchat 2.0. They've gotten really excited about it. And now they want to spend more time on it. They want to push some content out, but also, create some content that people want to see, right, Austin? Mm-hmm. So what you talk about storytelling. How is it different, storytelling on Snapchat than what people are doing on when you would now call more traditional platforms like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and, Pinterest and platforms like that?
Sure. So you have to look at the tools that are available. For instance, let's take Periscope, because we're in the live streaming universe. Periscope is a very much you set up your camera and you talk. Maybe you show what's happening. Maybe you're being like the Jeff Goldberg out there running around New York City showing people, but there's one point of view. It's either looking at you or it's looking out the other way. Snapchat is kind of cool because you can break up your snaps. There's only 10 seconds you get. And let's say you're going to do 10-second videos and there's 10 of them. You can have a different angle per shot. And like I've seen some really creative Snapchat stories where it's literally somebody having the camera on one side of their face and they talk in a funny voice, and they have it on the other side of their face and they talk in another funny voice and they have a conversation with themselves. And because you're switching perspectives, it adds a new dimension to the storytelling. And it's stupid and silly, but it works really well. So I think the fundamental difference between Snapchat as a storytelling platform, and I would ask actually if Sean can jump in and say whether or not I'm correct on this, is really just the tool itself. Snapchat, the limitation of Snapchat actually make it a better storytelling platform than, say, the Periscopes or the Meerkats or even the Blabs. You know, they all have a little bit of a different culture that's native to them, but Snapchat is really geared around storytelling.
Yeah, and Andrew Sierra says you can even go hands-free on Snapchat with Bluetooth remotes. And I think later on we'll get into some of these little tips and tricks and things that, a lot of people don't know about. So now when you come up with your stories that you're going to tell, is this something you plan out? Do you kind of just play it by what would be funny if it came next? Because you don't usually like do a snap picture and you're like, okay, I'll put the phone down. You usually have a series of snaps, short videos, things like that all work together as a whole to tell a story. So how do you come up with that?
First, I will be the first one to admit I steal ideas. I don't steal execution. What I mean by that is if I were to run around and like one of the Snapchatter of the year this year is DJ Khalid. Everybody knows him. He does things like major key alert, and he says major key alert and goes on his little rant. If I were to say that exact phrase and do exactly what he does, I would just be a poser. That's not cool, right? But I love the idea behind it. Hey, here's the key to success, right? So I did a motivational Monday thing that I try and inspire people. So I find the people who inspire me, who do creative things. Sean Ayala, phenomenal Snapchat storyteller. Harris Markowitz, one of my good friends, awesome Snapchat storyteller. M. Platko, he's a phenomenal Snapchat artist. Like looking at all these other people, seeing what they're doing, and I try and take their ideas, right? I love pulling an idea and being like, what can I do with this? And then from there, what I do is I go, what if? What if this happens? What if this scenario plays out? How can I make this funny and engaging? And then the other way I kind of plan my Snapchat is my mind is just a little mentally twerked. Let's just be honest. It's probably from years of being with a really ridiculous family. So like, I just have dumb ideas and I have no shame. So I come up with things and I'm like, this would be funny, so I'm going to do it. I actually have a notebook full of skits and ideas, and I start storyboarding when they come about. Some of them are half done, some are not. And I'm just like, this is fun for me. It's not work. It is exciting. It's fun. And I'm like, how do I tell a creative story? And then what I try and do, like I will talk for hours about this, I will try and find ways to incorporate like objects or things, because one of my end goals is I want to be a full-time Snapchat influencer and make branded content. So if you make a story around an item, right, I'm really trying to test myself and push the boundaries, because those limitations inspire a lot more creativity. So it's really just a combination of things and then taking lots of notes.
Right. We have a lot of people here who are doing, pretty great things on Snapchat. So everyone feel free to enter your Snapchat username in the message in the chat box. Mine is RossBrand1 on Snapchat. I know a lot of people have different names. Experts.com VP is Nick, and he goes by NJRISH and tells really funny stories. Who else is here? Sean Ayala at Sean Ayala. That's pretty self-explanatory. He had Gary V take over his Snapchat today. So
congratulations, brother, for your award.
That's pretty awesome. So now that you've got the big picture together, you've got the story together, what tools do you use? What do you use besides, your cell phone that enables you to tell stories, or you just strictly cell phone? Although I did see that remote there, so I'd say you're not strictly cell phone.
I actually just found this on the ground when I was walking home, so I now have an extra tool. And I have
no, you didn't. It wouldn't work if you did, or it would.
No,
you just program it.
I just tested. I'm like, this is amazing. So,
okay,
woohoo! Battery's kind of dying, but that's not a big deal. So really, I have a couple of tools. I have now this, but I know how to use the features that are naturally in the iPhone. If you go under settings and accessibility, you can set up hands-free very easily. You can set up Zoom. I don't have anything like that yet. I will get those things, but it really comes down to having a second phone, which happens to be my girlfriend, so it allows me to do some extra creative things, and a second set of hands, because again, she's my, I guess, assistant and very, very creative on her own accord. So that way, having her be like, nope, let's put the shot over here, totally helps. And I got to give credit where it's due.
Right. So now, when you have music playing in the background, is that just music playing in the room, or you actually have that somehow fed into your phone so that it?
Great question. So Snapchat has the ability to allow you to play music in the background if you have it running through another program. So if you open up SoundCloud or Spotify or Pandora or whatever thing you want to use for music and plays, and it's playing while the app is like kind of minimized, and you open up Snapchat, it will record it. So I use an app called Musi, M-U-S-I. And the reason I do it is because it pulls YouTube videos. So I get all the music I want, but then if I want like special effects sounds or things like that, I'll find something in YouTube and I'll pull that up, and I'm like, oh, this works perfect. So it's a little bit more versatile.
So see, these are the type of things that a person going over to Snapchat and maybe even using it for a while just isn't going to usually find on their own. Like, how did you find out about that?
How do I find out about it? Just from practicing, watching what other people do. Like when I'm watching somebody and they are just doing something, I'm like, how the heck do you do that? I'm like, I make it my mission to figure it out. Like there's certain things some people do that I still have no idea how to do it. Reading other blogs, finding all this information. But I actually put all these little tips and tricks in my course because I put it all in one centralized location. Like if you don't know how to do any of these things, like you don't even know what to search for. You don't even know that you don't know. So it all went in the course.
So now, like when you have music running in the background, is it the same thing? If you could be playing somebody speaking in the background, you could be playing any type of audio file in the background, or even you could be playing this blab in the background, right? And start talking with Snapchat minimized. Then you just bring up Snapchat with it running in the background and do whatever you're going to do, and that's going to be your audio, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I've actually thought about recording some audios of me talking and then like playing hands-free. Like I have a whole idea behind it. So a lot of my ideas come from me wanting to learn a idea. Like I did my stop motion design today. I think you saw that where I spelt out storytelling and story selling through stop motion photography. I really just wanted to practice stop motion photography. So that's why I did it. So I try and learn a concept through executing on the idea, not really caring how it turns out, because as you do it, as you practice new things and try new things, you get better at it in time.
Great. We'd love to take your questions, everyone. You can enter in the chat box with /Q and type it in, or just join us, call in to an open seat, and we'll take it right live. Alex H. Young asks, stop motion what? I missed that.
Stop motion photography, Alex Young. I know you're my buddy, so go watch my story today. There's a section where I'm like, okay, I want you guys to tap the screen really fast. You tap the screen and you can actually see it design out the words very quickly on its own.
Hey, what's up, Andrew?
How's it going?
Good. What's your question?
How do you get discovered on Snapchat? Like, there's no discovery feature on there. Is it like through other social media like Twitter, or do you just kind of push it somewhere else.
Absolutely. Other social medias are a great way. Like if you have an audience already built on Twitter, go out there, reach out, become part of other people's communities. This is probably the number one thing people are forgetting. We know of Ghost Codes, that's out there. But like when I got started and I really wanted to kick up Monday, I was a part of Blake's community. He's a good friend of mine, and because we built a relationship and I joined his community, participated in his games, he gave me shout outs on his story. I got a bunch of new followers. I made a bunch more relationships, joined their communities, and it's a never ending cycle, which works really, really well. So that definitely helps. Like I do Throwback Thursdays where I ask people to lip sync 70s, 80s, 90s songs. It's a fun little thing to do. I share you lip syncing a terrible song because 70s music is terrible, and we can all agree on that. And then I share your code out there, and you get more followers. So that's an easy way to do it. Those codes are probably the like best in like shotgun approach for getting new followers, because this new app that came out, you sign up, you make a profile, put your interests, and people can find you with hearts, and you rank on the leaderboard, which is kind of cool.
Is there any Android support? Because I have Android.
No. Sorry, my friend.
Yeah, no Ghost Code for Android. All right, thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew. And one last thing is these blabs and podcasts and things like that, there are a bunch of people talking about it. So it really just take the time and energy to run around and meet people and just keep building your following organically. It works really well.
Hey guys, it's kind of tough. I don't know why, but it's hard to share a blab from the browser. This last 30 seconds thing hasn't been working like the last couple of days, at least for me. So if you're watching on your iPhone, you're watching on the Blab app, please share it out on Twitter, or if you're watching on Facebook Live, please let your friends know. We'd appreciate it. Let's move on to Doug Stark's question. Do you have some cool ideas for using the Snapchat Stories feature, or whatever that is called? I think it's called Stories, right?
Yeah, I have tons of cool ideas.
Yeah, that's where Austin spends a lot of his time, actually, and that's kind of what you were talking about before. But, what are some other ideas for people? I mean, you do some kind of out there stuff, but how about people who are just starting out? Like, what would you say would be an example of a simple story that you could start with, that you don't need a lot of expertise on Snapchat right away?
Everything you do can be a really interesting story if you try and think about from the context of, would my audience enjoy this? There was one day I wanted to prove my point on this, and I did an entire story on me making my breakfast. And what it was different camera angles. I was making some eggs and some veggies and things like that. So you were seeing me throw the butter in and swirl it around really fast. And you were seeing me crack the eggs real fast and put it in there. And it was tight. That's the best way to describe it. The shots of the eggs were maybe a second and a half long. It was and open. And by having this quick, fast-paced story about what I'm making for breakfast, people really got into it, and they watched it all the way through, and they were like, oh my God, I've never watched somebody make their breakfast and think it's really enjoyable. So that's something you can do. Trying to put some creative, funny music behind your Snapchat that contextually makes sense is great. I did a story about, I have a massive addiction to coffee. I did a story where all I did is I played 2001 Space Odyssey, the dun, 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 dun music behind me, showing my coffee, and I recreated the scene. People thought it was hilarious. So not so much the idea, it's how are you going to make it fun and creative? How can you make it enjoyable for other people to watch? And then just go out there and practice. Practice makes perfect.
Doug has a good follow-up. Can you put your own snaps in the stories, or just your own, or can you put other people's into a snap story?
There are third-party apps that allow you to put photos and videos from your camera roll into your Snapchat story. The thing is, you do not want to use those apps. Snapchat has shut down multiple people's accounts by using those third-party apps, and they don't really want you to do it. So right now, as it stands, the only thing you can put in your Snapchat stories are the things that you are taking photos of and videos of from their interface. That's the best way to do it, but it works really, really well, because then you have to start start thinking creatively and thinking natively to the app.
Yeah, Sean Ayala says you can always take pictures of pictures. One of the things that's cool about Ghost Codes for people who have an iOS device is that it's separate from the app, so it's not a third-party app. You use it, and then you go back to Snapchat, so you don't have to worry about getting banned or anything like that.
Yes.
So if anybody wants to call in, we'd love to take your questions. I'm just going to start asking you some questions about things that I'm wondering about. And, if it shows off that I'm not the most experienced user, well, I don't think I'm fooling anybody anyway. If I'm trying to pretend that. What does a little number mean under your name when you have that number that you see like in the middle of the screen?
Sure. That number really means nothing. It is a combination of how many snaps have been sent to you versus how many have you received. Like when you put a snap out, are people engaging back? It's your Snapchat points. So right now I have 12,410 Snapchat points. Doesn't really mean anything. The most you can gain from that is how they use Snapchat. If you see somebody with 40 points, they're probably pretty new. If you see somebody with 100,000, they've probably been around a while.
They don't do anything but Snapchat, no. So it measures how much you snap and share?
Yeah, so how many snaps you send out and how many snaps you get back. And they actually break it down, too. Like, it shows you like 6,100 versus 3,301.
Now, does your story snaps count or just the snaps that you send to individuals?
I don't actually have that answer. I don't know. That's the truthful answer. Sean, do you know? Yeah, it measures your engagement.
So is it like when people view your snap and even if they don't comment? I'm wondering, maybe Sean knows both. Okay.
So it is like a very little measurement of how engaged your audience is. The more points you have, probably the better. But to me, it's not. It's more of a vanity metric. I would rather see my viewer count, my screenshots, and then actually have those real conversations.
And do you use all the metrics that the app provides within the app, or do you have some sort of third-party way of monitoring?
I only have the metrics within it, and then what I do outside of it, I try and take a regular look at what I'm doing. Is my viewer counts going up? Is my engagement going up? What stories do I think are doing the best? And the way I measure that is how many people are snapping me back going, oh my God, that's amazing, or engaging with me or taking screenshots. Past that, there are no third-party apps that I know of that will give you extra metrics.
Now, when you watch other people's snaps, what do you like in terms of content and what do you not like so much? And do you think that your sort of likes and dislikes are kind of typical of a lot of users, or do you think you're kind of, you have a different view of it? Because I just wanted people to get a sense of like, okay, this is content that people seem to like on Snapchat, and this is content that doesn't seem to be so popular among Snapchat viewers.
Sure. So the content I watch and that I really get excited about is when somebody is doing a really creative story. If you make me laugh, and I'm pretty easy to make me laugh. If you make me laugh, if you do something where I'm like, oh my God, that is a great idea, like, and that I want to steal that idea and start using it, I get excited by that. Real stories, Sean Ayala is saying, is absolutely correct. There's a lot of people who like the pretty much the only thing I don't like is when somebody holds a camera up to their face and they sit there and they talk in a monotone voice about a subject, right? And I'm like, come on. That is you putting zero effort in. At the very least, instead of holding it up to your face this way, put one to the side, one over here, throw some emojis, throw some filters on it. There's a lot of people who will just like put a selfie filters on of them being a dog licking the camera, and they'll do a bunch of that stuff. I get I tap through that. I'm like, that stuff's boring to me. I want something that will engage me, will tell a story with a beginning, a middle, and end, and will create an emotional reaction in me. That's what I personally like, but I'm not everyone. That's just me.
Yeah, Egg Solutions 123 says, I think there's a lot of idea borrowing on Snapchat. and that's totally okay. It makes all of us better, and I think you'd agree with that, right?
Oh, absolutely. I will be the first one to admit that, like, if somebody has a great idea, I tell them their idea is amazing and that I want to use it, because like people are stealing my ideas too. If I can inspire somebody to do one of the stories I do and they make it, that is awesome. I want to hear about it. I want to watch that story that I inspire somebody else to do. Like, that's cool. That's what we're all here to do. Like, make our days better and make us better at Snapchat.
Right, right. Now, do you think that the fact that Snapchat doesn't have the same permanence of other social networks, that people feel more free on Snapchat to be more creative, to be more silly, to experiment, and then if anything they come up with something good, they can always do the refined version right on another platform, or decide maybe this is just for my Snapchat audience. At the same time, right, people can take screenshots of what you're doing. People could, I guess, record from another phone. So nothing's totally private, right?
No. And like anything else, like, if you don't want something being out there, don't do it. Like, if you're a woman, never, ever, ever take your clothing off in front of a camera. Let's just be honest. Unless you want that to be out there permanently, I don't care if it's on Snapchat or any other platform, like, it will get around, right? Don't do things you don't want other people to know about. But because it does disappear in 24 hours and it's kind of a little more challenging, people are definitely more creative, more silly, and a little more free on Snapchat. I know I wouldn't have the audacity to do half the things I've done if it wasn't Snapchat's inherent ability to make things disappear and just how fun the platform is.
Right, right. Alex Young asks, Austin, do you like to upload your snaps to YouTube?
I do upload them to YouTube. I also upload them to, there's an app called Slinger, which just recently came out, but it saves vertical videos. And it's kind of cool because there's a little social media behind it where you can find other users, follow them, give them hearts to up their content, and more people can find you. I actually got the opportunity to do a cool takeover with some guys who are doing really well in Slinger. I saw their content. I was like, whoa, these guys are very creative. I like creative people. I don't care the size of your audience. If you're creative, I want to collaborate with you. So we did this fun collaboration, and then Slinger ended up picking up the video itself and putting it on their Facebook page. So I'm like, hey, this is cool. This is the whole purpose of the social media, is to be social and reach out and find new people. So Slinger and YouTube are the best ways to save your videos.
Do you save all your videos on YouTube, or just pick and choose your favorites?
I should be saving all of them, but I will admit at times I totally forget to download my videos, and then I kick myself in the butt, and I go, man, I wish I saved that one. So
yeah, it's easy to forget to download stuff while you're doing it. Now, if you do snaps, do you download them separately and save them as pictures in addition to downloading the story as the video?
Depends. So I usually try and download the story completely because I want the entire story. But if I take a really cool photo, like I did one, since I was playing with coffee beans, my girlfriend was like, okay, I want to play with coffee beans now. And she made this really cool photo that said play, right? And so I grabbed another snap, and then I just downloaded that one separately because I was like, I like this. I thought that was creative. But mostly I stick to downloading the entire story just so I make sure I have it. You can always pull out the image.
Do you share your stories on Facebook or other platforms?
Absolutely. I've actually been gaining like decent traction with native Facebook videos, putting up funny and creative stories. And I don't do all of them. Like, if it's me ranting, most people don't want to watch that. But if I've taken the time to really storyboard an idea and I think it's pretty impressive, I put it up there and I try and get more people engaged with it. I've actually gotten calls from my father, who has no social media presence. He hates it. And he starts ripping on me for my stories. He's like, I cannot believe you did that, So if my dad is telling me I'm doing a good job, I think I'm winning.
All right, that makes sense. So what are some of the biggest questions you get, like kind of beginner to advanced beginner kind of questions you get about the technical aspects of Snapchat? How do I do this? Why does this work this way? Does it work? What are the things?
It's free. That is the number one
Hands-free.
question I get. Hands-free. So while everybody's here, there's many ways. The easiest way is to go spend $10 and get yourself a Bluetooth remote for your iPhone. And this, once you sync it up, you just push the button down. You can take the photo, or you can hold it down and take the video. Guys, if you want to do it hands-free and you're really talented, use your toes. They click too. Then you can have nobody knowing. Seriously. The other way is if you go into your settings. This is iPhone only. I'm only an iPhone user. If you go into your settings, under accessibility, under general, then accessibility, then under assistive touch, you turn it on, you set up a function where you just touch and hold down the thing, name it, and you go through this whole process, but then you just drag the little button and then it films hands-free for you, so you don't even need to spend $10. If you want a third way, all of these things are in my course. Again, iPhone. If you have an iPhone, I think this works for Android too. This is the low-tech way. The little volume button on the side here will allow you to take photos and videos too, which is great because sometimes you cover up the little sound receiver and it's like a muffled video. If you grab some rubber bands, wrap it around, and then push it down, the rubber bands will hold it down, and then you can film hands-free. 3 easy ways to film hands-free.
Right. So when you can shoot video, right, by pressing the volume up button, right, and that'll just start shooting video. When you want to take a snap, is it the volume down button, or what do you do?
Volume down. It doesn't matter what you take.
It's just if you let go of it, it's a snap, and it's a picture, and if you hang on to it, it's a video.
Yeah. It takes a photo, right? If I hold it down,
so it's just like using the round button. And
yeah.
So when you shoot video, which way do you mostly do it? Or I guess from what you said before, it all depends on the kind of story you're trying to tell and what angle you want and all that kind of thing. Are there any tricks to when you want to shoot multiple clips to move things along faster? Like at least I shoot a video, right? Then I got to upload it to stories and wait. And if I want to tag somebody, and then I got to remember where I was and then pick up again. Is that the way you do it, or is there a faster way to do it?
The easiest way, like if you have an idea in mind, like I got 6 shots that I want to do back to back to back, right? But maybe the first shot's here in your home. The next shot is down the street because, there's this beautiful view, and you don't want people to like take it like one step at a time. What you do is you throw your plane in airplane mode, right? Then you go to post your stories. It will fail to post. That is great because then you can go back, take the next shot, post it again, right? It will fail to post. That's how I actually did my stop motion photography one, because if I tried to post each one, people would slowly go through it and it would be really, really annoying. So that way I take all the photos, I build it out, and then I take it off of airplane mode and I slowly post all of them again. And then that way people get the entire story so they can tap all the way through and see the entire thing. Airplane mode is a godsend.
So you just put it on, then you go to the next place, and then there isn't that 15-minute gap until the person sees the next one, right? Like they don't watch one and they drop out; they catch them all at the same time. And you can record video while it's on airplane mode, and they'll just sit there one after the next because they can't go anywhere.
Yep. I do have to warn people, though, make sure you have plenty of room on your phone, because the first stop motion one I did, my phone ran out of memory, and then Snapchat crashed on me, and I lost everything, and I almost ripped out my hair.
You're Austin Iuliano, same name on Snapchat, right? Okay.
Absolutely. Same, Iuliano. And for anybody who's watching replays, I'll give you my QR code.
Yeah. And drop in your course as well. If you want to drop in your course. Love to take some more questions if you want to call in or just ask from the chat box. So when people start getting better at Snapchat, what do you start to see from people? Like when you start to see is there something that indicates, okay, this person's starting to get the platform now? Now I'm seeing somebody who's like stepping it up a little bit.
When people start actually caring about their content, and it's mostly a mental shift. When you start thinking, again, I'm going to quote Brian Fanzo here because he's really correct. When you start thinking like a fan, when you start thinking like your audience and going, would they gain value from this? Then they stop posting random things that don't make sense, that have no context to an overall story, and they start trying creative shots. They start trying to add some music or some emojis, or they start drawing. Like a gentleman who bought my course, right? Terrible at Snapchat. Then all of a sudden he did something that I didn't even think of. And I was like, wow, this is super creative. He simply was walking around his office. He drew 4 red lines in the corner, brought an emoji of a circle up there, and put office cam. And contextually, I was like, oh, this is cool. Now I'm looking through a camcorder, right, that he created. And I was like, that shows me he's actually trying new and creative things. And I'm like, oh, I could totally steal that idea and make that and do longboarding cam or something like that. So when I see people trying new things, I know they're starting to learn the platform and
so now I love some of these geo filters, right? How do I get a geo filter for, visitors to my house? Or, like how do we get people come over and, I'm showing them around the Livestream Universe studio and I want them to have a geo filter so they can snap it. How do I go about doing that?
Sure. So you would have to get one designed for you, and then you would have to fence it off. The way you do it is Snapchat. You Google Snapchat geofilters, and then you have to submit them. They're manually reviewed. They're based off of certain qualifications. If it's like a community-based one, it's absolutely free as long as it's passed. If it's a business one, then you pay a little bit of money. If it's just your house, it's probably going to be about $5 an hour, which is really, really, really inexpensive. If you are going for a larger area and you only want an hour, it's going to cost more money. It's based off how long it is and how big of the area you want to map out. So
it shouldn't be too expensive for a very small area for a short period of time.
Yeah, it's a great marketing avenue for small business owners who don't have a huge budget, because if hey, the weekends are super busy, we're going to have, like, say we're a restaurant and across the way is some event that's happening that's going to be super busy, like a farmer's market, let's say. You map out the farmer's market with your custom geofilter that has your restaurant's name on it, and you put it for the 48 hours that is the event. All those people start coming into your restaurant because people are on Snapchat, and then boom, your speaker, Sean Ayala, says 3 hours, I paid $7, got 100,000 views and 300 people use it.
I'd say that's $7 really well spent. That's pretty awesome. And so, yeah, Sean agrees. So if you get your geo filter approved, right, and you have multiple, say you have a farmer's market every week or whatever, do you have to get it approved, reapproved each week if you're going to use the same one? Like if you stop using it so that you don't have to use it when there's nothing going on, do you then have to resubmit it, or can you always use that one again?
Yes. So you have to submit it they will be like, it's from this time to this time, I'm going to use geofilter. So then it's live for those times. But once you've used it and it's been approved once, say the next week you want to do it again, you just resubmit it and then they kick it in because it's going to get approved.
So it's a pretty quick process then when you want to use it the second, third, fourth time.
Yes. So I submitted a geofilter that failed because it had the word Snapchat in it and they didn't like that. And it failed in like 24 hours. And I was like, okay. So I started creating a new one. It's a pretty quick process. Plus, they know that if they don't listen to me, I'll come sneak in there and slap them around.
You'll bring the muscle. Okay, I got it. But yeah, I mean, I love like what Sean talks about. I mean, I think for events, it'd be an amazing thing to have for an event, and especially something that's recurring, right? Because then people will know okay, I got to check this out myself, and it's going to happen again. So, what are some other things business owners can do, or people marketing their services? They might be a solopreneur, a speaker, a coach, a consultant, or they have a small business and sell products. What do you think are some other things they can do with Snapchat?
So let's say you're a brick and mortar business and you really want to start using Snapchat, one of the easiest things you can do is get your QR code and put it up in your window for everybody who's passing. Say, hey, we're on Snapchat, come follow us, right? And then that way you start building your audience of the local people, because that's who you really want. It doesn't matter what your business is, start marketing it where your audience is already hanging out. If your audience is online, you need to be online. If your audience is a local thing, you need to be doing everything you can to get the word out locally that you're on Snapchat, because it just builds from there.
Yeah, Sean says you don't even have to be on Snapchat to use geo-filters. Small business can use geo-filters if their target audience is 14 to 34. That's true. They don't even have to be creating content, right? You just provide the opportunity for those users, those visitors to your business, to use the geo-filter. So what are some other things that you've seen, like, very creatively? Because I think one of the things is people come to Snapchat and they think, okay, how am I going to do this and keep it professional for my business, but yet, not be a bore and just like show, okay, here's our office hours, whatever, right? So how do people walk that line who want to, have a professional business and everything, so they don't want to be too silly, but they still want to do something that's going to stand out and make people want to come back? What are some things you've seen people do that you think, wow, that's other businesses maybe could learn something?
So the easiest way is to first start talking about your business, right? Like, let's say you're a consultant, an SEO consultant. Right. What you could do is an SEO tip of the day, something very simple like that, something short like, hey, this is the tip, or field questions and answers. That's very simple, very professional things you can do. If your business is a business to consumer and you have a product, let's say you're selling this microphone. Get this microphone in the shots. Go and be like, hey, we're doing a bunch of podcasts. This is the microphone we're using. Tell a funny and creative story. Say the microphone starts talking back to you, right? Hey, Blue, and it talks back to you. I can't make this story up on my head, but that's funny, right? We all find these things a little funny. You just have to start thinking creatively. You don't have to be as ridiculous as me. Like, my goal is to dress up in freaking giant costumes running around the Venice boardwalk, making people turn heads and go, what is wrong with this person? That's not for everyone. That's only for me. That's what I like to do. So if you think creatively, you'll come up with the ideas pretty quickly and then just see what other people are doing.
Right. Why don't you go over, you told me about how you organize your the different users that you follow so that you get to see the stories that you want more often at the top of your list. Can you kind of go over how you organize that for people?
Sure. So when you start, one of the things is I recommend you add everybody back, because otherwise when they're watching your stories, they can't necessarily engage with you very easily. So one of the things is your feed on the side here is arranged by the latest update, and then it goes alphabetically. So top obviously is A. What I do is I take the people who I really like their content and I put A- in front of their name. I edit their name and I put A-. So let me see if I can show people this. Like, you can see the people I like: Joel Comm, Taylor Nicolai, Blake Croft, Sean Duras, Sean Ayala's up here. There's so many. Stevie Aoki.
So just to interrupt you real quick, like, I wondered when I got on Snapchat, like, why is giving me the opportunity to edit somebody's name? Why in the world would I want to do that, right? Like, how would that make it better for me? But this is kind of a unique feature that a lot of people might not know about right away, but it's really cool. Sorry, just go ahead. I just had to jump in with that because I was amazed. Like, what the heck? Every time I bring this up, it's asking me if I want to edit their name. Why would I want to do that?
Yeah, it's great because you can alphabetalize your people A, B, C, E, F. One of the other things I do, Sean was talking about retention rate. Who are the people who are consistently watching my content? I take note of it because I can start remembering names. I'm like, oh, I keep seeing you over and over and over again watching my stories. So what I do is, and this is my biggest list, is I put fan dash in front of their name. I don't know if you guys can see this. These are the people who are consistently watching my content. And I want to know who those people are because they're the ones I want to build the relationship with. Not the person who one-off watches my snaps, but the person who comes back time and time and time again. And a lot of these people are in the room right now. So it's really cool because like we go from being Snapchat friends to on a podcast together to a blab to they'll be in my periscopes. And it's just very big community that we're building through in time.
Right. So I guess as somebody who likes to do live stream, particularly on Blab, might as well get some free advice from you. How should I be using Snapchat in order to augment what I'm doing on live streaming?
Sure. So you're in the podcast route. I think it wouldn't be too far of a stretch that the more people who you know who are also podcasters to network with, to collaborate with, would probably help your podcast. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you consider Blab like a podcast is basically.
I do.
Because I don't actually do an audio podcast, although maybe one day, but
Okay.
I got you though. But like other people on Blab or podcasters, other live streamers on other platforms.
Exactly. Like if you want crazy Snapchat stories, Sean is in this room. You ask him to be on your show to talk about Snapchat. That is a new person. The thing is, it's all about networking. I don't care if you're on Blab. I don't care if you're on, Periscope, Meerkat, Snapchat. It's all about the network you build and the community you build. So it's a very powerful tool. What I would do is I would just start looking at who are the key people you want to get on your show. Like, how about the CEO of some major company that wants to get into live streaming? How about getting Applebee's on your show, right? Mm-hmm. Applebee's is a major player in the live stream universe. Cinnabon,
right.
In the live stream universe. Start talking to them and be like, hey, I have a podcast. It's about the live streaming. I'd love to have you on my show. Will it be instantaneous? No, but if you work hard enough, I'm sure you can acquire it.
Do you recommend actually using Snapchat as the platform to talk with those companies? Is that what you're saying? Like go to Snapchat and snap them? Or you're just saying take notice of who's doing well on Snapchat as far as brands go and influencers, and then think about those people to bring over to the show?
So yes to both of those things. The thing is, in Snapchat, you have the ability to make calls to other users. With one touch of the button, I can be ringing somebody's phone, and I don't even need their number. That's kind of cool if you think about it. Also kind of annoying because I get people calling me all the time when I'm like, yo, who are you? What are we doing? I don't mind it, but I've been able to close some major deals, build some really deep relationships with other Snapchat users because I'm calling them on the Snapchat phone, because otherwise it would be one more step. Hey, what's your number? And they're like, do I really want to give you my number? Instead, it's like, whoop, hey, okay, are we agreed upon on whatever it is that we've been talking about? Cool, let's move forward.
So now Snapchat, the messaging ability on Snapchat, I'd say, is closest to Facebook Messenger, right? Why would you choose one platform over another? Like the specific reasons why I might email somebody versus text them versus Facebook message or Twitter message, right? Like each you kind of get a feel based on your relationship, where they hang out, what they're open to, how urgent things are. Where does Snapchat, because it kind of feels like Facebook Messenger, but why would you use one over the other than the fact that the person uses one more than the other? Or is that it?
I mean, let me ask you, do you actually use Facebook Messenger all that much?
Yeah, I mean, if I don't have somebody's phone number handy or whatever, and I'm not going to text them, I might Facebook message them. If it's not, like, text might be more urgent, or somebody that I'm more familiar with, somebody I'm less familiar with, I might Facebook message, or just because I think it's easier than a text. What do you think?
So the way I look at it is it's where people are currently. There are people who I only do Facebook Messenger, but the majority of my contacts are in Snapchat. And so it's engaging them where they already are. So I think this is the big battle. I don't have the perfect answer because Facebook and Snapchat are going head to head on the messaging platform. I truly believe that within the next 18 to 24 months, Snapchat is going to be the predominant winner. But that being said, Mark Zuckerberg, brilliant CEO, he's doing some crazy things. They have a ton of users in Facebook, in WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger. I don't know. The simple answer is I don't know why you would do one over the other. Why not do both? Why not do the one that makes the most sense for your audience?
Where the person you want to reach is most likely to get the message and be happy that you contacted them. And that's not always an easy art form to figure out, but it's more art than science, right? It's you get a sense of the person and where they're hanging out, where they're receptive, where they're likely to look, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, like, before we wrap up, I'd love to take questions if anybody else has questions, but talk about some more hidden tricks, right? Like some things you've uncovered that even you were like, oh my God, you can do this? Like, I didn't know that.
So the one that really kind of like unlocked it for me is not really a hidden trick. It was like watching Sean, and he has this awesome thing where he has people snap him back and of drawings they've done, and he adds them into a story. And I was like, how does he do that? Then I realized he had two phones and he's basically recording one phone with the other one. And that to me opened up so many possibilities. I was like, you can have a ton of engagement, save all your photos, pull up a phone and record the phone. You can record videos. You can do multiple shots. I just think that's really cool. I think if we start playing around with two phones, you can do some interesting and creative things. I would say that is the number one trick. The rest of it is just stuff you find out in time. Like if you're an artist, learn how to do the zoom feature. I'm giving you all my tips and tricks, it sounds like. Dang, let me see.
We won't tell anybody, just amongst this little group here and anybody who watches the replay and anybody who finds it on other platforms. And anybody who goes to YouTube. Yeah, some people will see it, but
not so much the features. It's more about focusing on building a community and telling a story. Because if you focus on building a community, if you focus on bringing people together and like making it fun and rewarding for people to watch you, then that community will come back and keep supporting you. If you focus on storytelling, and that is a broad term, but basically keeping your audience engaged, then they're going to stay around. It's those two things: storytell, get the attention, keep the attention, and reward people for giving you attention.
That's great. So before we wrap up, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and your course and where you're hanging out online.
Sure. So you can find me at, if we're listening here, snapchat.com/ad/Austin Iuliano. Austin Iuliano on Snapchat. That's how you can connect with me. My course you can find at bit.ly. Let me type this in. /Snapchat. I can't type right now. -mastery. And if anybody picks it up within the next 24 hours, I will also throw in an free personalized consulting one-on-one. We can talk about your business. We can talk about how to become a better storyteller, whatever it is that you need to do. So we'll throw it in. So it's all about how to storytell on Snapchat, how to use the interface, how to build a community, interviews with some of the top people, and I'm definitely adding more in there. And I'm consistently updating it too whenever new features roll out. So
awesome. And I'm Ross Brand 1 on Snapchat. So if you have any thoughts on this blab, if you want to ask other questions, you want us to do this again, definitely snap me, let me know if you enjoyed this. I'd like to do some other live stream star shows that aren't just about an interview about the person, but are deal with like, issues going on. And I think, the Snapchat 2.0 update and ghost codes. And there's a lot of attention right now around Snapchat. And Austin, you said you think it's going to be it's going to beat out Facebook as a messaging platform within a year.
I do.
That's a very bold prediction.
It's looking like it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. This was awesome. It was a great idea of yours, and I'd love to have you on again in a few months, or when there's some new developments with Snapchat, and we roll through some questions again.
Cool. I would love to be on again. I had so much fun. I hope you guys like that. And if you ever have any more questions, never hesitate to reach out to me on Snapchat.
Cool. And tomorrow I'll be the guest on the Let's Livestream Twitter chat at 3 p.m. with Rachel Moore. That's the Let's Livestream Twitter chat, 3 p.m. tomorrow with Rachel Moore. And Monday, our guest on Livestream Stars, 7 p.m. Eastern, is Jody Okun. Have a great rest of the week, everyone.